The economy is slowing down. The prices are going up. We have an active war in Europe and possible food shortages all across the world. And of course, the markets are correcting heavily. Should you keep investing or not? Keep watching to find out. Hello everyone, I'm Yoram from Economia, your destination for financial independence and tips to spend and invest wisely. So, the news is not really good, whether it's international news, local news, unfortunately, as well as economic news. Where does it put us as investors? That's what we're going to discuss today, and we're going to start by looking at the overall economy and the market news. We'll see what it means for investing. We'll see where we should start investing, what we should invest if we have extra money, and we'll wrap it all up. But before that, please click the like button to make sure that more people can discover this video. That would help us a lot. Let's get started. Unless you've been living under a rock in the past few months, you know that prices have been going up, mainly due to logistical constraints because of the pandemics and all its lockdowns, the war in Ukraine and tensions all across the world. This has prompted central banks to start increasing their rates and slowing down their spending and the available amount of money that has been flooding the markets and the economies in the past few years. The US central bank rates have been hovering around 0.2, 0.25% for the longest time. And since May, they were jacked up 0.5% or 50 basis points, meaning we're up to 0.75 to 1%. This doesn't look like a lot, but that's a big increase. And most predictions are indicating a 2.75 to 3% interest rate before the end of the year. This is a big increase. And the US Central Bank is not alone. The EU, the UK are also jacking up. Only Japan seems to have announced that they're going to skip their very, very low interest rate for the time being, but unfortunately, that has immediately impacted the Japanese yen, that is down 10% against the US dollar since the beginning of the year. This has obviously a lot of impact on the economy in terms of import and export. This tightening has also impacted, obviously, the stock markets. You have the Dow Jones that's down about 9%, 9.7% since the beginning of the year, and the Nasdaq is down 23% from its peak. That's a big, big decrease. Even in Japan, the Topix is down about 6%, and only Singapore is hovering around 3%, keeping itself relatively stable. Those changes in interest rates, or increase I should say, are provoking a change in the way investors are putting their money on the market. We've been seeing for the past few years a complete focus, I should say, I was looking for my word, a complete focus onto tech stocks, onto high growth stocks. But now we are seeing a shift toward value stock or cyclical stocks. And that obviously has impacted all the stocks, all the companies that we've been talking about for the past few years. You look at Google, it's down 22%. Look at Amazon, down 36%. 36%? Yeah, 36%. You look at Meta, down 42%. And even Apple is down 70%. 17, not 70, 17%. And even the darlings of the market, like Tesla, is down 17% year to date. And of course, this is not just limited to the stock market. The crypto market as well has been going down. Some people are talking about the crypto winter, and we've already seen altcoins like Terra Luna, which was supposed to be a stable coin, losing 99.9% of its value, wiping out investors. And now it's starting to restart under a new name with the same team, but more on that on another video. You probably can do your own research. And of course, the interest rate do not affect only the market. It's not a bubble. Every possible interest that you can get from any kind of loans, whether that's banks between themselves, the stock market we've seen here for investors, but also the mortgage, your car loans, any possible types of loans are being impacted and prices are starting to rise, and we are seeing even the price of houses in the US going down. This has a very large impact. Furthermore, this can be a precursor. This could lead to a possible recession, not just because, of course, of the increased rate, but because of all the political and economical situation that I was mentioning before. Some banks are calling for a possible recession as soon as we enter Q3. What does this mean for us as investors, and what does it mean in terms of investing? Before we go into the details, let's talk about the stock market and how we should approach it and what the reality is in terms of this situation. Is it new or is it something that comes regularly? So what does it mean for investors then? Actually, if we go into a recession, whether it's due to the pandemic, to tensions, or those rising prices leading to rising interest rate, it's actually not something unforeseen or out of the ordinary. Actually, recessions, I should say, are part of the normal business cycle. Let's see this quote together. Recessions are regular events of the economic cycle. They happen regularly. Since 1900, the longest contraction period lasted 43 months. This period began in 1929 and is known as the Great Depression. After the Great Depression, however, the longest contraction period lasted only 18 months. This period began in 2007 and is known as the Great Recession. With that said, labor markets suffered substantial losses of jobs in the short 18 months window, and major stock market indexes around the world, like the S&P 500, lost more than 50% of their values during the period. And talking about Japan has also had this kind of dramatic event. From 1991 to 2001, Japan has lived what's called the lost decade. During that time, there was economic stagnation and deflation. It's called the stagflation. Since then, Japan has recovered. Its economic growth has lagged behind other developed countries. This is indeed terrible news if we go into a recession. People may lose their job, salaries will go down, bonuses will disappear, and it's going to be very tough. And depending where you live, you may have some kind of safety net. But either way, it's going to be quite tough. And obviously, the stock market is going to be impacted. We're going to go from the bull market that was going up all the time into a bear market where the market goes down or remains flat for the long period of time. How long, you might ask? On average, bear market lasts 289 days and the stock market loses 37%. So, if your finances are in order, see my previous video about it, and your emergency fund is full to take care of any unforeseen event that may affect you, what you should do next. You may have some money you could invest, but is it the right time to invest? Everything is going down. Actually, if it's going down, that means that when it starts going up, the upside is way better. And on average, the stock market is returning 7% over time. So, as we are thinking about investing, and this is a long game, we're not talking about months, we're talking about years of investment to see a very good return. Then, now, as the economy is slowing down, as the market is also going down, there's probably an opportunity to invest and to benefit from the coming upside. If we do it, of course, in a wise way. Let's see how to do it. So, where do we start? If you are employed, maybe your employer, if it's big enough, is providing you with an employer-directed retirement account. Or in the US, you also call it a 401k. Basically, it's a retirement account where you can contribute some money, and this is matched one-on-one by your employer. You'll double your investment for free. It's pretty good. It also exists in Japan, where I'm based, and it's called a defined contribution plan, and I'm writing it down in Japanese for you there. Depending on your age and your situation, the monthly contribution will vary. In the US, it's $20,500 a year, or about $1,700 a month, depending on your situation and your age. In Japan, it is up to 55,000 Japanese yen per month, also depending on your situation. This is really your starting point to invest and also to contribute to your long-term wealth. There are a lot of tax benefits. I'm not going to go in details. I'm not a tax consultant and I'm not going to give you tax advices, but you should check around you, check with your employer, check with your tax advisor. This is really the best way to start. So what do you do if you have some extra money after that? Let's see. So this extra money you still have, you can place it in a personal retirement account. It's pretty much the same as before, but you have to do all the contributions by yourself. In the US, it's going to be called an IRA or a Roth IRA. The IRA basically gives you tax deferred, so you contribute with your pre-tax money and you will pay the taxes later. The Roth IRA, on the other hand, is actually a bit more interesting because you can touch this money and actually access this money after your retirement, and the growth and the capital gains are tax-free. You have to double check. It always changes and they are small fine prints. In Japan, there's an equivalent. It's called iDeCo, and I have underneath the word in Japanese for you. It works the same way, and the maximum contribution per month is between 12,000 Japanese yen to 68,000 Japanese yen, depending on your situation and your age. Again, there are tax benefits there, and most banks would permit you to open an iDeCo in Japan or an IRA and Roth IRA in the US. So check with them, make your own research, look at the fine prints, but this is also a very good way to invest this extra money after you've worked on the investment you can do with your employer. And then, if you have some extra money, what do we do then? Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt. While editing the video, I realized this was becoming very long, so I decided to cut this video into two parts. You just watched part 1, with all the background and setting the stage. In part 2, we'll go into details for the steps you can take to invest. If you like this content, please give us a like. If you want to see part 2, please subscribe and do not hesitate to leave any comments. Thank you again and see you very soon. Goodbye.